Okay, so let me address a point uh, that some of you made about the connection 2021 short documentary, and it's about the difference in evolutionary rates and that they can coexist if they have if there is a rapid change. So let me explain it in more detail. I have already mentioned in one of the podcasts that I have participated in that um, let me give some examples and try to explain what's the difference of technology from them, because usually they say, well, there are some systems in subsystems in nature that changes rapidly, but still nature is perfect, sustainable, it just works. Well, okay, let's examine those systems and what's the difference from the technology. So um, volcanic eruptions, they can be abrupt, rapid changes. It can cause rapid changes in the atmosphere, etc. So, first of all, nature, they have existed always. Volcanic eruptions were with biological life. Biological life evolved with volcanic eruptions, right? So 4 billion years, there was always volcanic eruptions, even more intense volcanic eruptions than now. So basically, because they have co-evolved together, then biological life has no problem with it. Similarly, let's give an example of our immune system. Viruses change faster than our genetic makeup. So we can say, look, viruses are changing faster, so technology is like changing faster, but nature can adapt because our immune systems, our biology was able to adapt to that. So there is some difference, but we can coexist sustainably. Well, there is again, the argument is flawed because we have always coexisted with viruses. Our immune systems developed step by step with viruses always with us, right? So let's imagine a situation. Let's say 100 years ago, there were no viruses, no bacteria, and no immune system because we didn't need immune systems to protect from something that doesn't exist, right? But suddenly, um, viruses and bacteria came into existence. And now, do you think can we expect our immune systems to adapt to such a novel change, rapid novel change? We can't. We will all die because we don't have immune system to protect us, and because viruses are changing so fast and we are changing so slowly that we will need millions of years, thousands, millions of years to develop our immune systems from zero up to be able to uh, deal with viruses or bacteria, right? So you will see in that situation that it will be deadly. So similarly, nature, uh, if you consider nature as us, let's say, that is changing slower than the technology out there, it's just very novel, she didn't find, because she didn't co-evolve with it, she didn't find time, she didn't felt the necessity to develop an immune system against it. And similarly, you know, with the example that I just gave. So basically, because technology is evolving so fast and biological life is uh, less uh, slower, then nature will need again very long amount of time to be able to adapt. That's why uh, the mass extinction is going on, because it can't just uh, deal with it very quickly and say, okay, everything's okay. There, uh, she can't block the disturbance, because what our immune systems do is just kills the virus, right? Doesn't let it grow exponentially. Just the virus stays in control and just travels around from different region to different region, right? But whenever it's detected, it is crushed. So it's not going with it. This is not what is going on with the technology. It's growing exponentially everywhere without getting crushed. And um, because we don't have an immune system, and to crush it. That's why it's a cancer. It's a deadly virus in a way. That even our immune systems, when we have been evolved with viruses for so long, despite that, sometimes they can be so novel, jumping from other species, you guessed it, causing some pandemics or something, call it pandemics, despite, and it can be deadly, just by chance, the death rate would be much higher. So even our immune systems sometimes have difficulty with viruses if they are too novel. See, the novel rapid change comes here. So there is a degree of it that you need to look at if we have co-evolved for a very long time, and if that's the case, usually it's just proven that these two systems are compatible. And the slowly evolving system found a way to crash, in a way to prevent the rapid system from evading, and that kind of things happens when you evolve for a very long time together, co-evolve. It's just in a very complex system, you just can't come up with something new and say, okay, let's make this compatible. You can't, because basically the situation is too complex to find alternatives. When you change one thing, when you change one thing, the whole system, this change can ripple. It ripples in nature and also in technological systems. So let's say if you change one thing in technology, they say, okay, let's isolate technology from nature. Well, that is impossible to design and implement such a technological system, because when you change one thing, let's say you want to improve something, right? You need to start from somewhere, and you say, okay, let's do this, and you change that thing, because the whole technological system is connected and it's complex. It just ripples, and the unintended consequences, meaning the changes in the system, even as a web, it just returns back to your own focus. So you just change something and you just say, oh, I didn't expect that, now this changed, and I need to fix this. So the same problem that I have explained in my documentary is here as well the case. And let me give some practical examples from real life about two examples: food production and energy system. So energy systems, fossil fuels fossil fuels are not good, not compatible with nature, so let's substitute them with renewables. Or first, let's say nuclear. Okay. First of all, nuclear, it is not renewable energy. It will last 100 years or so. So nuclear is not indefinite. Nuclear energy will last 100 years or so. Even it can end before coal or something. It's not something that is indefinite as people imagine. And except fusion, and that is not happening because they're just trying to imitate sun here, and it's very difficult. And if they did, even if they just found imagine a humanity with an indefinite amount of energy that they will immediately destroy everything, just because that will enable more disturbances. So it's not a good thing. I don't wish fusion energy either. I want this thing go away fully, you know. Um, and okay, so other renewable resources, let's say wind and solar. Well, we know it's intermittent, and basically you need backup systems and to be able to have a stable energy supply to run things. Backup systems or energy storage facilities, and these are huge tasks that will destroy. They're not economical. They can't be. They're to the point that they can't be even implemented in a realistic way. You know, think about all the if you just build batteries to store energy. Battery is toxic. They say like don't throw your battery into garbage because it's toxic. It has heavy metals, etc. Just it's a toxic waste. Imagine all the if you just build batteries or something like or other energy storage systems. They try to apply that. Always there is some problem that makes it impossible to apply in practice, including using potential energy, gravity, whatever. There's always something that prevents it, and that's why there is no solution to the energy crisis that we are in. That's just one example. Let's go to food production. So they say, okay, we have soil erosion caused by agriculture, and I mean, mostly caused by agriculture, industrial agriculture, and we have fresh water depletion, etc. So let's ignore the fresh water depletion right now, the irrigation water, ignore it. Let's ignore all this salination of soils, etc. Just ignore all these problems. Just say that let's say the erosion, the soil. Okay, if we can produce food without soils, we can just build vertical farms and increase the production, whatever, right? So I made a back of the envelope calculation, and to produce the food enough to feed the world would necessitate covering, without any space in between, covering the whole Europe area by 10-story tall buildings. So imagine doing that, whole Europe covered by 10-story buildings. I mean, what percentage of the land area would that be? Habitable land area would that be? Right now, including the roads and everything, we cover about 1% of the habitable land, and most of the things and we don't build 10-story. Most of the things can be roads, which necessitates much less material. So I will actually calculate. Now I'm wondering, like, what percentage of Europe is the habitable land area of Earth. So I will just calculate and write in the description. So if you wonder, you can see like what percentage of the habitable land we should cover with 10-story buildings. And those things, vertical farms, are not suitable for all kinds of crops. Like they can grow some things and not other things, and they also necessitate lots of infrastructure. You need light bulbs, wires. It's a huge. I mean, you need to extract. You need to mine for all these things. Maybe use some cement, which is causing climate change. Anyway, the cement is the third biggest cause of climate change. So this is madness. When you really try to apply these, find solutions in practice to isolate yourself from nature and just build something, get out of this problem that we have created by using technology, it is, you see that it is impossible, like, or finding alternatives to monetary system, or like all these things. There are no technological solutions. That's why I say, when you change something, everything is connected right now. Technological system is connected to nature. It needs to extract. It competes for energy. So basically, even if we achieve by infinite luck that we isolate isolate technology from nature, and let's say utopian theoretical scenario, very highly unlikely, close to impossible scenario, and then we need to also so everything is recycled, etc. Circular economy, they say, all these things. With infinite luck, then we need to keep it going. That some things, because basically we need to keep it from expanding into the nature, because nature is using energy and resources, and also this technological system must use some energy, because basically the energy is dissipating out. So you let's say you isolated the system, but due to thermodynamical laws, energy dissipates. So you need to put in some energy. Let's say you just took the sun and you are just using it, but eventually at some point, because there is no reason except human control, just by luck, let's say, that this system was able to stabilize itself without expanding into the nature. So if the system just starts, let's say, using more energy, just expanding a little bit, stealing a little bit more energy from nature, so nature can't use it, but the system will use it, it will realize that it can basically, so let's say a subsection, subpart, subsystem of this bigger system, realize that by expanding, it can be more powerful in a way. Like it can be more not fit, but it can have advantage over the other subparts of the system, because it will have more concentrated energy to use to maybe destroy the other parts of the system, not destroy, but we might see it as replace. So there can be some malicious intent, and when someone does that, and if it is large enough, then even if it goes undetected, let's say, then it can just slide back to the the behavior of a cancer. So what I'm trying to say is, like, we need to build it with infinite luck an isolated technological system, and then with infinite luck run it for a very long time. And these things are very, you can see how unlikely they are. And somehow techno-utopians manage to ignore all this and ignore the probabilities, the concerns with probabilities. They just say, this is possible, we can do it. No concern about how long it will take, no concern about how many trials we need to, because we have one trial with nature. We need to establish this system with one trial, and that's it. If we can't establish it, basically, we don't have enough time. Within this century, basically, we have to come up with all these things. And you look around, what is the situation, what we could achieve with our intelligence level. And yes, of course, there are some, huge improvements in the way compared to our own intellect. That we are impressed, because with our intellect it is difficult to grasp what we have built in most of the time with our organized technological system. But then you look at what we must achieve and you say that's not going to happen in any time soon, because all the unintended consequences. It is, yeah, it all comes back to my documentary again. That yeah. So I will not make this any longer. Just I wanted to address the issue with different evolutionary rates being compatible with each other, and for that you need to evolve from the beginning, from a very long time, from your simple roots. You need to evolve together to become more complex and complex together, not just something just can't appear like this and rapidly evolving, and the rest of the system can just manage to catch up with it. Especially, I mean, if the rest of the system is evolving faster than those novel things that popped up, that's okay, because the rest of the system can manage it to evolve, because it's already evolving faster than this novel thing that came up. But the issue arises when this novel thing that pops up is evolving faster than the rest of the system. So that's more in detail thing. This makes things clear, I think, that this is the main problem. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, and if you have any questions, comments, write in the comment section, subscribe, like, because I realized that I can't even have a video live chat because I don't have enough subscribers or something. And I also want to have some, votes, some how is you can vote for different options. I can I forgot the name for it. Anyway, you get the idea. So just subscribe, like, and see you in the next video.